NBA Finals game number 5. Does the NBA 2023-24 season come to an end this evening? Well, we'll discuss it right here, right now. And a good evening / good afternoon, everybody. Sean Barnard with you here live, picks and roll. And yes, the DraftKings Sportsbook is showing the Boston Celtics will wrap up the NBA Finals this evening at 6.5-point favorites. 209.5 is your total there. We got a lot to discuss from the game. Of course, what took place in game 4 for us to get to this point in time. Joel Embiid popping up, showing a side eye towards Paul George, getting everybody talking on the timeline, hearing how that took place from Tim Bontemps from ESPN, doing a little everything. I'll give you more on that. But Sean, how we doing today, sir? Happy Monday.
Yeah, happy Monday. And it's been nice to see Joel in the public eye a little bit on the recruiting trail. I think it was a good reminder to us that Joel kind of runs in his own lane, sticks to himself a lot. That is cool to see him, in the public eye, being a normal, just cool, average guy that he does have that to him and a unique personality that he is. So that was a cool moment to see him on the pregame broadcast. He made the most of his opportunity with the side eye to Paul George. We got our LeBron James potential dinner rumors. The things are swirling here in Philadelphia and around the NBA. So I'm loving that things are kicking up.
That was not LeBron James.
Probably not.
What do you mean probably not? Let's just go there because I saw that one on my timeline and I'm like, I unplugged this weekend. This weekend was a very refreshing weekend. Was able to watch the sports, was able to keep up obviously with YouTube on the phone, nice and easy. Got yelled at even on Father's Day. Oh well, I can't miss Rory and Bryson going neck and neck, head to head, seeing who could suck the least out of the final 4 holes to win the U.S. Open. So, but I did see that tweet pop up, and I'm like, that's not LeBron James.
I mean, it definitely looks like LeBron James. I do think it's probably Elton Brand. They're both, 6'8", tall, strong, current and former NBA player. I do know some people that are going to bat, like convinced it's LeBron. I'm not one of them, but the bottom line is good news that all this is stirring up. The more the Sixers are attached to you, the better. I feel at this certain point in time.
People are going to bet that was LeBron James.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No, I went there. That I had dinner with my wife for our anniversary at that place. A couple in February, March, whatever it was. And it's the all the way up in the Comcast building. Forgetting the damn name of the place. Do you remember it? Do you know it?
It's like Skyrise or something like that.
There's a bar inside the place that goes by a different name. Oh, what am I? I'm trying to blank. Sorry, but it is a nice restaurant. Extremely expensive. One of the most expensive restaurants that I've ever had dinner at, and that is not a humble brag. That was, oh, I sat down. Well, we're screwed. That was, didn't really do the math until we were able to get there. Let's just put it that way. But really nice place. It didn't look like LeBron to me, and that was a quick glance. That's the only photo we have.
I believe so, yeah. So I think that probably was not LeBron James, but I like to be optimistic.
LeBron James ain't walking through that door and only one picture is being taken of him because it's a wide open place. So if you walk in, you see who walks in. You walk out, you see who walks out. So I would absolutely say that wouldn't be the case. But anyways, we'll see what happens here. He's staying in LA. I mean, Bronny's out there playing and practicing in Lakers uniforms. They got dress up for him out there, which is nice. We understand how this thing is going. Anyways, let's talk a little bit about Joel Embiid and how he ended up in Boston, since we're on the rumors and innuendo timeline here. I is he going just as a fan for an NBA Finals game? Actually, that was in Dallas, correct? So that was game 4.
Yeah, that was in Dallas. And yeah, that was the plan, that he was expected to be in the building. And kind of the lead up that you alluded to there is that he heard Paul George was going on the pregame broadcast and said, you know what, I'll do it too. And then the NBA allowed that and ESPN allowed for that to be the case. I think it was ABC
Tim
there.
Bontemps asked him.
Yeah. So I think they ran into each other in the bathroom was the story that I hold, which is all pretty funny there, just that lead up. But shout out to Joel for popping on. Had some nice comments about hating Boston and hating to see their success, which I think is always goes over pretty well in the Philadelphia circle. So I was happy to see it. And again, certainly made use of the recruiting time with a little on-air side eye, which I love every part of.
What did Paul George do to that side eye? What's his reaction after that? Anything?
He gave a nice little fake drink, trying to not look uncomfortable. Picked up his coffee mug a little bit. It's a tough spot to be thrown in if you're Paul George there. And again, I do respect and love that Joel did it. I'm more curious what the conversations off camera were between those two, because for sure Joel's intentional in just about everything he did, everything he does, and I do think that was the case there. But I hope Joel took him out for dinner and used the company card, whatever it takes. That is the recruiting push. If you're gonna have a guy do it, and there is a lot of respect between Paul George and Joel Embiid. Paul George has talked plenty highly of Joel on his podcast and throughout. So I do think it is notable that that even happened and that they were sitting next to each other in this offseason.
All right. Long way to go until we will break down all the trades and rumors out there from the Philadelphia 76ers perspective. But let's go ahead and get on to the play on the court. Let's discuss it. We got a game 5 tonight. Nice. I do appreciate the NBA saying Father's Day, there's enough on the plate. You got US Open. Everybody unplugged from the television. I saw some people, upset that game isn't being played on Father's Day Sunday. I'm okay with that. And I don't remember years past, but definitely yesterday. All right, perfect. Slide in on a Monday and let's crown a champion if that's the way it goes tonight. But game 4 on Friday was a blowout. Dallas handled business. I didn't think Boston necessarily played with the, the pedal to the metal, but I don't think that they were the better team no matter what in that game. And obviously the score reflects that 122-84. Boston was a point favorite in that. Under 2-11 did hit. It was a 206 finishing score, something to keep in mind there with a blowout like that. Yeah, and of course, when one team only scores 84 points, it is tough to go over that total number there. But fast forward to tonight, here we are, 6.5, 209.5 in a possible series clinching Game 5 in Boston. Sean Barnard, let's just go from the jump. Does the NBA season come to an end tonight?
I think it unfortunately does. This is certainly a situation in which my heart and brain differ a little bit here. I do lean towards the Mavericks on the +6.5, that I think this game's going to be close, but it's going to take an absolutely unreal performance by Luka Doncic for Dallas to actually win this one, and we haven't really got that so far in this series. I do think that the loss, while some of it is a credit to Dallas and defensively, the way they were able to flip the switch in a way that they have not been able to this series, I do think that they discovered some things as far as unlocking Derek Lively a little more, getting him some production from the other guys. The bigger takeaway to me is just human nature, that the Celtics didn't have their fastball, that they knew they have a 3-0 lead. They knew they had to take one in Dallas, and they got it in the first one. And this was a back against the wall, that you cannot fake desperation. And that's what we saw out of the Mavericks. I think things come back to normal and the Celtics play like the team that they are tonight. I don't expect Jrue Holiday to play as bad as he did in game 4. Don't expect Jason Tatum to continue on kind of the just kind of weird series that we've got from him. Overall, just not great. And it's been some real indecisive moments. I kind of expect those guys to have a bit of a breakout. Still don't expect to see Kristaps Porzingis, but the Celtics just have too many ways that they can beat you. And I do think that was more of a desperation move by Dallas to get the win there.
Definitely. They were up by 48 points. So that tells you a little bit of, hey, look, let's get the hell out of Dodge. Mavs, of course, with Kyrie and Luka, the big spotlight times 10, shining brighter than ever on Luka and his performance, which somewhat unfair, but is warranted at the same time, if I could say that. I know that's not hot take enough for some, but it's the truth. Like, I was like, wait a minute, you guys are crushing them over game 3. What about 1 and 2? Like, hold up here, hold up. 50 points by the two. Luka 29-5, 5-3. Kyrie 21-4 and 6. And that was enough to get the job done. As I said, they handle business. So this is from what I'm gathering from you, game 4, just take that, throw it out the window. It means nothing. It wasn't real. It's time to move on. It's game 5 tonight. Where do we find, I guess what I'm trying to get to is, from the betting perspective, how does this game play out tonight? Is it more from a game 1? Is it more from a game 2? Is it Luka struggling in game 3? Is this a Jaylen Brown kicks the door in and he is your front runner right now for MVP -235 on DraftKings? Is the door open for Tatum tonight in your mind? Where do you stand? How do you see this game playing out this evening?
Yeah, I do think the doors are open for Tatum. That, like, as much as he's been bad throughout this, and bad's a little strong, he hasn't been, I would say, bad, but it has been a little uncharacteristic, and particularly the indecisiveness is what I didn't expect from him. Feels like he's done a lot of the drive and dish actions for Boston, but it hasn't been like within the flow of how you expect. Like, we haven't had really that Jason Tatum dominating a game or being the number one option type guy. I could see us getting that tonight. That I do feel like he is hungry to leave his fingerprints on the series, and it's going to be kind of a weird discourse and conversation about like Jason Tatum not playing at his best and the Celtics still winning a championship. I think he's not cool with that, and he's going to do everything possible to make sure that that's not the case. I also think Drew Holiday is going to have a much better game. He's kind of an intriguing number to me, particularly in the stat combos for Drew that I was looking at over 24.5. I like that number there. I do like the Jason Tatum points. His number coming in at, I believe, 27.5, and yes, 27.5 at -105 there. I also feel really good about Luka still, even though that I don't think Dallas is going to get the win. Luka is going to bring everything tonight. And I think that 32.5 number for points is intriguing. I also don't mind combining that with the just stat combos or assists. You can get a pretty friendly kind of uptick in value if you start doing the points and assists there, looking at like over 40, even up to like 45 and 50. I think he has a chance at from just points and assists. He's going to be everything that offense. So I do think it's going to be a pretty lucrative player prop market tonight. I think we're going to see some scoring.
Interesting that you think that this NBA Finals MVP is still open for Jason Tatum. He finished with 15 in game 4 on Friday. Jaylen Brown finished with 10, 3 of 12, 4 of 10. You don't think Tatum did enough, or you don't think Brown did enough in the first 3 games to be? Are you agreement with the number he's at right now, at -235?
Yeah, I think it's certainly his to lose. I also think like Drew Holiday at plus 3,500. I know he had a really bad game 4, which kind of runs him out of there, but I think the door is open for whoever grabs it. Like
Wow.
if any of these guys, Brown, Tatum, or Drew, are to have like an unreal night tonight and play phenomenally well, I think they take MVP right there. That I don't think anybody has it locked up. Certainly Brown's to lose, and if it's more of the same, that he's going to get that. But I don't think Tatum's been as bad as probably the perception of him is. It just hasn't been as dominant from a scoring standpoint. So I do think the door is open. I do think the 3,500 for Holiday is a little crazy there.
Man, you're gonna have to get a lot for him to win the MVP. He's gonna have to have like a 20, even if he goes for 26 again tonight. I don't know if that's enough. I think he's gonna have to like literally, show everybody that's tuning in, yeah, this is my team, and as much as I like Drew, I don't know if he's got that inside of him. And again, the bar is just extremely high because of the odds, what we're staring at right here. But you do put yourself into the voters' shoes, and I'm not too locked in on how many people have a vote. Is it similar to like the ECF West WCF with like 8 people, 2 that cover the team, so on and so forth?
Yeah, similar setup there. I believe there's more from both sides, like more Celtic specific and Dallas specific here.
I can get down with Tatum with you. I can definitely sit there and be in agreement with you that Tatum, this is still open for him to get the NBA Finals MVP. But Drew, I think, is just going to have to do a ton. And again, that's why he's a long shot. So I don't, look, I'm not trying to kill you on that either. It's 35 plus 3,500 for a reason. But I think you're going to see Tatum, not mess around. I think this is going to be an ugly one. I think Dallas is in for it tonight. I think Boston's just going to be fired up, ready to go. But and it's been close to first halves, right? We've gotten good first halves out of Dallas, but it's just that second half. It's that third quarter. And that's the mark of a true championship team. You look at the Golden State Warriors and all of their runs, third quarter they own. So here we are, more of the same tonight, and that's probably how it's going to play out tonight. But again, there's money to be made on the MVP award from Tatum, plus 255. So good stuff from Sean on that one. Anything else on the MVP discussion, Sean?
Yeah, and I'll just say, like, Jaylen Brown, it's been interesting to see just the talking points for both these guys. Like, Jaylen Brown's certainly been the better player through the first 4 games. His best game coming in game 3, where he finished with 30 points, 8 assists, 8 rebounds. He had 21, 7, and 4, and then 22, 6, and 2 the 2 games prior. But also in game 4, he had 10 points, 2 assists, and 1 rebound. Shot 3 for 12 from the field and 1 for 5 from 3. So it's not like I think he's played at a level which, like, you can't critique. I don't think Jaylen Brown's been perfect either. If he wakes up and has the type of game he had through the first 3 games, I do think that he gets MVP. But if Jason Tatum outperforms him tonight by a pretty significant margin, I do think he can win it. So kind of a bit of a rare situation where I do think it's completely still for the taking.
Here's how he gets it. It's through 3-pointers. If Tatum starts banging 3-pointers, if he hits 5, 6 3-pointers tonight, obviously it totals his numbers up. I think he's averaging what 7, probably 8 attempts per if I'm guessing right. He's 27.5 points per game, right? Or 27.5 is his player point total on DraftKings, 24.5 for Brown. Tatum goes over that number tonight. It's gonna be hard not to give it to him.
Yeah.
That's a 30-point mark in a game 5. Close them out. Maybe, Sean, I'm talking myself into this. Maybe the voters go. Brown won last ECF, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we show a little love to Jason Tatum. He filled it up. You look at the box score from the 5 games totality. It adds up. He does it all in the rebounds. He does it all in the assists. Shooting percentage, no one's wax and poetic about a bum shooting percentage. Nobody cares. It's the final numbers. It's the game 5 win. It's the NBA finals championship here. Put the banner up. I think Tatum could very well win tonight's MVP award if he has a game and he goes over 27.5 and they win.
Yeah, and I also think there will be a pro Tatum push in these types of conversation because
Yes.
as much as as much as we try and keep it purely about basketball and the results on the court, the bottom line is Jason Tatum's still the ringleader for this entire Celtics era and this Celtics run. That this is still Jason Tatum's team. So if he's able to just play to his standard or show a little more than he has thus far in the series, I do think there will be momentum to give that guy Finals MVP. So I do like that value. I'm talking myself more and more into it as well.
Me too, because obviously it's a big time number there. And if we think they're going to win, 6.5, we already pointed out that you don't think it's going to be a blowout like that. You think it might be a play for the Dallas Mavericks plus the 6.5. I'm looking at it the other way. I just, this Boston team, blood's in the water, bro.
Yeah.
And even if you get the production from Luka and Kyrie, it's just not enough. Even if they give you 60, 30 and 30, it's just not enough. This Boston Celtics team is too tough. But without Porzingis, we'll see how that one plays out. I do like it from the Tatum perspective, so I'm talking myself into that play. Definitely will have to fire on that one. Anything else from you from the prop standpoint that you're looking at this evening?
I think Derek Lively's worth looking into. Dallas has kind of pretty much gone away from Daniel Gafford at this point, and for good reason. That Lively's been terrific. I think probably the direction to play him is in the combos market. Looking at his number at 19.5 at plus 102, I like a lot. I do expect extended run from Lively. He has 20 rebounds in the past 2 quarters combined. They've kind of unlocked something with the Al Horford matchup here. That Lively is just bigger and more athletic than Horford can keep up with at this point. They do some nice things off the short roll where they put him in a playmaking spot. Also hit a 3-pointer last game. The Lively over 19.5 points, rebounds, and assists, I like quite a bit.
Love those combos. All right. From the standpoint of anything with player assist, I'm looking at right here, assist Tatum at 5.5. Again, he's just gonna be all over it. So I'm all about Tatum as I was in game 2. I thought game 2 was going to be the bounce back, or game 3, excuse me. Game 3 was going to be the bounce back for Tatum. He showed it. I'm getting that similar vibe tonight, that this is a just don't mess around, get out of the way type of game for Jason Tatum. But again, Jaylen Brown is that good that he's not going to have a bad game by no means. I think he might even produce just like he did in games 1 and 2. This could be a tough little selection by the MVP committee who's got to come up with that vote. But I think there's going to be a Tatum push, as you put it out as well. All right. Anything else from game 5 tonight, sir? Once again, Celtics and the Mavericks, 6.5 on DraftKings Sportsbook.
Yeah, I would say expect a great deal of theatrics with the Porzingis conversation. I think there's going to be some gamesmanship there. They're talking about that he's going to be active again. I just don't see anywhere where this guy's capable of stepping on the floor again. I did see a little bit of whispers of the Celtics are trying to do right by him, and if this turns into a blowout, basically put him on the court where he can at least be involved. I don't know if I can wrap my mind around that even being possible. The reality of it is I think the Celtics have to approach however long of this series that Porzingis cannot play. I don't think that's a deal breaker. They're still going to be able to win at least one game, and I think it happens tonight. But I do think that there will be a lot of buzz surrounding the Porzingis talking points leading up to the tip-off tonight.
Yeah, yesterday, Xavier Tillman, an assistant coach for the Celtics, somebody said you need to go to excuse me, player. Whoops, my bad. Xavier Tillman, some people were like, he needs to go to PR school because he said when we go through our practices, he's doing some stuff, but you could tell he's very uncomfortable. Any improvement? Question mark. No, he's been pretty much the same. That's right. I forgot he came in and was hitting some of those 3-pointers. Yeah, my bad. I would say that it's probably going to be the same, right? Like that's my gut instinct. That injury just doesn't seem like the pain is something that goes away, and it's just too much for you to play through. So one thing about Porzingis is he's been dinged up a lot throughout the course of his career, so it shouldn't come as no surprise here. It's unfortunate, but I just don't see him playing through it tonight.
Yeah, that's where I'm at as well. And like certainly Porzingis is such an X factor for this team. That's like the move that I think makes them unguardable is the way that you can play true 5-out basketball. That you're not a big man who's turned himself into a decent shooter like Al Horford. You're a shooter that happens to be 7'3". That's who Kristaps Porzingis is. So certainly a hurt to them, but I just think there's so many ways the Celtics team can win, and they're gonna stumble across at least one of them, even if it does drag on deeper to tonight. But I'm with you that I don't expect that to be the case.
All right. Do we fire on the Boston Celtics to win the NBA championship for next year?
Not willing to do that. I think I'm even like more of the mindset that I just don't see a lot of repeat champions in the modern NBA. I think like we're going to see a lot of what we did with the Denver Nuggets last year, where they looked like this unstoppable force dynasty incoming, and all of a sudden there's a new kid on the block come this time next year. So I don't think we're going to see as many repeat champs, especially if there's not like a LeBron era or a Big Three or whoever.
All right, well, let me pause you there. All right.
Okay.
Let's talk about the East.
Uh-huh.
Put the NBA Finals to the side. Let's talk about the East. Who? Name the team that you think, if Boston runs it back, what's Porzingis' contract? Is he there? He's locked. He's staying.
He'll be there again. Yeah.
Okay.
I forget exactly what it is, but he'll be there.
So the pieces, Drew's there.
Yep. Drew will
Tatum's
be
there. Brown's there.
Mm-hmm.
Porzingis is there. Who else? Is White there?
He's more questionable depending on the contract stuff,
Okay.
but likely. I think that this is a team that they have a chance to keep this core together for sure.
Who's stopping them in the East next year? And that's an honest question. Who in the East you think could change things up? And you better not say the 76ers. Do not say the 76ers. I will drive the jersey right now and tackle you. All right? Put the Sixers out of your dang mind, Sean Barnard. Give me a team in the East that you think, because I do have a team in my mind, and I think they showed us a lot this year, and especially in the postseason. So I have my one team. I'm curious, who do you think will be the biggest threat to the Boston Celtics next year in the East only?
Yeah, so I want to lead with that. I think there's truth to what Joel Embiid said about the injuries in the East this year. That when you look about all these teams, there wasn't really another team like ready to step in the batter's box and have fastballs thrown their way. That it was a lot of teams limping to the finish line. That the Milwaukee Bucks are at the top of my list with Giannis and Dame, who it's a different story if those guys are healthy. I do think the Doc Rivers effect lowers the ceiling of that team. That I don't know if they're ready to knock off the Celtics, but that is a talent that you can't ignore there. The Knicks are certainly building something. And if they add another key piece or give OG Anunoby the contract and bring in something else, they could potentially take that leap. I do give the Sixers a chance at it, that if you do land Paul George and begin to paint this roster elsewhere, that they could go toe-to-toe. Even a team like the Cavs, I'm very intrigued by what they end up doing this offseason. That I do think that there's going to be some sort of big move, whether it is to break up Garland and Mitchell, whether it's to trade Jared Allen. But I think that team's going to look a lot different next year. So I think there's a puncher's chance for a lot of these teams. Milwaukee's probably the number one threat, I would say, but I think the East is going to look significantly different at this point leading up to the start of next season than it does right now. And I think a lot of teams have avenues to get better, which I think is the opposite out West right now.
Okay. Yeah, I look at the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers are my team.
Interesting.
And yeah, and look, again, let's see what happens with Pascal, but I expect him to be back. I thought he fit in well. I thought he took a step up too, especially in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Halliburton is that dude. He's got to figure out to be a little bit more consistent. Easier said from where I'm at as I'm sitting in a chair, but man, when you play 2 of these seasons, you can't go through a weak stretch, whether it's playoffs or regular season, whatever, where you're just terrible, right? You can't go through like the highs of what Halliburton showed us, and then all of a sudden, like people are wondering whether or not TJ McConnell should be getting your minutes, and that was a valid discussion for a portion of this year. So I think the Pacers have a nice way of going about their offensive play. Carlisle is a good coach, in my opinion.
Yep.
build off of what they had this year, sure, I could get down with the Indiana Pacers next year. I really could. So, again, we don't know what happens. The change will take place. There'll be new players and new positions, all of that. So, long way till we get to that spot. But I bring it up because of the standpoint of DraftKings is rolling out Boston plus 280 to win it next year. And no way would I sit here and tell you to take that, but it is interesting to look at some of the other teams and just from the perspective of winning it all, they don't even have an East to win the East at all, are only here up. Like the Sixers right now are 12-1 to win the NBA Finals next year. The Pacers are 40-1. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, the Pacers are interesting. I'm still a little hesitant on the Tyrese Halliburton conversations. He's incredibly talented. He's got to flip a switch mentally to truly lock in on being the starter that he's capable of being. I personally found it very frustrating during the playoffs this year where there are games where he just straight up was not in attack mode. And that's just unacceptable if you're going to be the face of the franchise or the guy that is capable of carrying that team when he has it going. So, like, that's probably the biggest piece holding me back on Indiana. They're a little bit like they are who they are. That yes, guys like Andrew Nemhard or Aaron Naismith are going to get better. Yes, there's Ben Mathurin who was hurt for that playoff run, and I do think that's a valuable piece moving forward. I do think Siakam's absolutely back, but this is their core, so they do need to stack off that. I don't see them reaching outside the organization to add too much, which it's how much you believe in that core. And I'm still a little skeptical for the Halliburton reason, but definitely not counting them out.
All right. Well, tonight, game 5. It's been a hell of a season, Sean. We started all the way back before the season opened up. We rolled through picks and roll all the way through. We're going to crown a champion, I think, tonight. If we don't, Wednesday? Is it Wednesday?
I believe Wednesday. Pretty sure, yes.
Okay. Normally, I'm a guy that actually Thursday.
Wow, they're spreading them out. Yeah, you're right.
Yep. Thursday would be potentially game 6 in Dallas here. Normally I'm a guy that says extend the series. I'm not getting that vibe tonight. Just put an end to it. All right. Boston's a better team. Boston's a good damn team. They've been the best team all season long. I was kind of frustrated myself thinking that they were going to sweep them on Friday. I was so mad at myself because, we talked about it. I said, what's going to happen is they're going to win game 3. They're going to go up 3-0. Lose game 4, go win it back in Boston game 5. Edlow joined me on Wednesday, said it there. And then Friday comes rolling around. I think we played some Friday golf, had some fun. And next thing you know, I'm like, come on, Boston's doing it. They're sweeping them. No, it wasn't the case. It was a dumb play by me.
The other part that I think is interesting, like kind of this Boston Celtics team, you dive into the analytics, you dive in the record, all this stuff. They look like this historically great team. And they still, to be honest, don't fully have that feel of it in my mind that like there's like even you want to look at like their game 3 win that they're getting credit for in the clutch stats and executing down the stretch. Can you really look at it that way when they blew a 20-point lead and made it a game and then managed to squeeze out because Luka Doncic fouled out with 4 minutes left? And I know I'm not trying to be super critical here as they're obviously about to win an NBA championship, but I guess my point being, say that is how things play out. Say that the Mavericks do find a way to walk into Boston and win tonight and then heads back to Dallas. You better believe that there's some doubt creeping into the heads of the Boston Celtics because I do think this is a team that has had those mistakes, that slippage at the worst moments, that I think tonight is like a huge moment for the Celtics team that they have to take care of business because we've seen them blow these opportunities before. We've seen them have their execution issues in crunch time down the stretch. If you blow this game and it's pushing to 3-2, heading back to Dallas, the spirits are not going to be high in that Boston locker room, and there's going to be some serious doubt floating over that team. I would love it if it heads down that route. I'm not fully buying it. I'm trying to talk myself into it, but like kind of my perspective for this series as a whole is if it became a close game and down to the wire, I think Dallas can execute at such a higher level than Boston, which is why I thought it would be a series. Boston has not allowed it to get to this point by building up enough of a cushion in most of these games, but it will be interesting if that is the path it still goes.
All right. Well, we'll definitely be watching it tonight, and good luck on all those plays, everybody out there. Once again, 8:30 tip coming up. Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks 6.5 New Year's. Just take advantage of all those great promo codes that DraftKings has to offer by simply using last name Brace as the promo code. Last name Brace is the promo code. All right, Sean Barnard, we'll get you out of here on this one. Did you watch any WNBA over the weekend, sir?
I did actually. I was tuned in to the Chicago Sky, checking out the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, the modern day MJ and LeBron debates that I guess we're getting into. So yeah, I did check that one out. Watched a little bit of WNBA this weekend.
Nice. Yeah, the Fever ended up
Mhm.
winning again over Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky. Now 2-0 versus Angel Reese, which is probably should be in bold. Shout out Caitlin Clark and company. Clark balled yesterday, 23, 8, and 9. She filled it up. Nice work by her. Reese is pulling down crazy amount of boards, all that. Of course, the she's coming off as like a Bill Lambier type esque to me, Sean Barnard. Now that's a little early in the heyday for you, but Bill Lambier was the bad
Oh
boys
yeah, I
deep
know Bill
championship.
Lambier.
Oh yeah, and I hated him. Everybody hated him. And that's okay. That's what sports are about, right? You're supposed to now I know that people will take this and teach their own, right? Like whatever. If you got your own ways of going about it, stirring it up, you want to be a troll, fine. But for me, those were the type of players, and I could give you a list that I didn't like, and I rooted against, and I wanted to see the other teams win against. That was the part of the Detroit Bad Boys era. That was it, the Pistons, and Angel Reese well on her way, man, because the attitude after the game, I love it. It's great. Get on the microphone, speak your piece, be who you are. And you guys are gonna play this. Yeah, that's a hard damn foul. That foul is gonna get run if it's against Steph Curry. I mean, you're talking about one of the bigger names in the game, so of course it's gonna get run. And it has. It's been all over ESPN. It was a hard damn foul. I mean, not a good foul, but a basketball play. I got no issues
Yeah.
with that. But afterwards, put the microphone in front of her. She wants to be that way. I like it. It gives me another reason to tune in. You're all right
Yeah.
to actively root against people
Yeah,
or
and I
teams.
definitely have no issue with Angel Reese saying what she's saying, with Caitlin Clark saying. I think Caitlin Clark, again, I think's done a really nice job on her handling of everything. If
Yeah.
the foul itself yesterday, to get that out of the way, it was a hard foul. It was a flagrant one. It was nothing more, nothing less than that. But this was not some crazy out of control act. It was a basketball flagrant foul. By definition, was what it is. And I don't think there's more to this story here. Now, there's always going to be the Reese and Caitlin Clark ties. I tweeted out yesterday that Caitlin Clark grew the attraction for her as a basketball player because of her long range shooting, because of the Steph Curry range that she's launching 3-pointers from. Where I think she sticks and finds her identity is as a playmaker. She's done some really high level passing. And yesterday was the first time watching a Fever game, which I've probably seen 4 or 5 of, at least parts of this year. They were clicking yesterday by far the most. They were doing some nice things with Aaliyah Boston, a little 2-man action with her and Caitlin Clark. It does feel like they're finally starting to put the pieces together, that they're now up to 5 wins on the season, which for a point in time, they were 1-7. I believe they're now 5-9, I think is what the record's at this point. So moving in the right direction there. Caitlin Clark is the real deal and figuring out, I think, even quicker than some people are expecting. I don't think this is going to be a season long, have her bumps and bruises in the learning curve. It feels like things are beginning to work for her and for that team. So great thing for the Fever, and will be fun to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, again, she's playing on a terrible team. They had the number 1 overall pick. She's averaging 16, 5.1, 6.2, and a little over a steal. 3-point percentage. What is she shooting? She's still at 32.8. Again, rookie. First year dealing with a ton on her plate. Give her some time. We'll see what happens there. But I love it, man. You're giving me another reason to watch. And if Angela Reese wants to be that type of person where, she's gonna not hold back and speak her mind and kind of be a little bit of an attitude, which, hey, look, like I said, it's not the only person to ever be that way, right? Like, I just want to be upfront about that, whether we're talking men or women. Bottom line is, like, after a game, people are frustrated. She lost. She wants to win that game bad against Caitlin, has yet to beat her in the pros. Next game is at Chicago. I think I heard on television this morning, and the first 2 games have been sold out. So hopefully game 3 is a sellout, and more eyes, more better. So good stuff. Again, sucks that the hard foul was there, but that game was going to get played no matter what because of those 2.
Yeah, I would like them to make a little bit more of an effort to put these in prime time too. That I ended up stumbling through that game about halfway through and then locked in for the second half. I wasn't even aware it was happening. So maybe a little more
Yeah.
publicity. Let's make this a 7:30 or an 8 o'clock game and put the bright lights on them. I would like the WNBA to lean into that a little more.
Does it change when NBA is over, though, you think, in your mind?
More of a push or less of a push, you're saying?
Yeah, I think, okay, once the NBA finals are over, then boom, let's elevate some of these games.
Yeah.
Again, Sunday yesterday, you had other stuff on, don't get me wrong, but I'm just curious if that's how that's going to play out.
Yeah, and I mean, this is coming from me personally, so I'm sure other people have differing opinions on this, but I'm a creature of habit that I like to go about my day and then the end of my day be flipping on watching a sporting event. And if that's the WNBA, if they're going to be playing at that time of day, they will find themselves on the television. But if they are like these midseason or midday and early games, I'm not going to go out of my way to watch it in the way that was the case. I think they should lean into that of keeping it a part of the habit, make that just NBA fans, I think, can transition to being WNBA fans by having it in that same exact spot there.
All right. Well, like I said, we were tuned in. There was a couple games I didn't even pay attention to all weekend, but yesterday was definitely laughing at the fact that you had another round of those two girls' teams going head to head. Caitlin getting the best of her, 91-83, and oh, by the way, Caitlin Clark having a pretty good game. After that the women's national team conversation, I could have fooled me. I thought she was terrible. That's the way that I was taking it from some people out there. I thought she's a pretty good basketball player in her rookie season. So, and those stats will show up, man. That's 8 and 9. That's a hell of a day. And still able to pop the three. She had 7 threes in a game a week ago. Like, what do we think she's going to be doing in 2 years? This girl's going to be incredible. Like go ahead, get your licks in now. Because watch out, in 2 years, this girl is going to be unstoppable. Hopefully Juju will be as well.
Yeah, no, I'm with you there that I do think this is just the start of the Caitlin Clark era, and she has been far better than the perception of her is. And like to bring up, not to kind of clown on Angel Reese a little bit here, but Angel Reese, man, like I can't get over. She's shooting from the floor this year. Let me find the exact number here, 37.1%. And the comeback that has been pushed to me against this is Caitlin Clark from the field, shooting just 38.3%. The difference being that Caitlin Clark is attempting 8 3-pointers a game and shooting 32.8% from those. Angel Reese doesn't shoot from outside like the paint. So I've been kind of blown away with some of the lack of touch there. She's being outplayed by Cardoso like in a massive way for that Chicago Sky lineup. They're trying to like lean into this double big. Neither one of them can shoot. I just don't love that from a basketball perspective. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Angel Reese kind of experience lives up, because I could see some clashing between those two for basketball reasons. And then if she got the personality to add to that, there's going to be some interesting conversations coming out of there.
She is pulling down boards at a crazy level. I know that much. It's something like rookies have never done before. And
averaging
so she's
a double.
Is that what she is?
Yeah, 12.1 and 10.1.
All right. Well, we'll continue to pay attention and fire on some plays. WNBA might be all we have after tonight as far as hoops are concerned. So Summer League right around the corner. More on that. And free agency, I believe, begins as soon as the NBA Finals ends. So who knows what will happen there as far as teams can talk to other teams or to their free agents.
Yeah.
Specifically. So we'll see that, not free agency. Free agency is just tip off for a little while, but we'll be all over it for you right here on The Gambler. Sean Barnard, fantastic stuff. That's Sean_Barnard1, the number 1. Enjoy the rest of your day, sir. Good luck on those plays, and we'll talk. Hopefully, you know what? Hopefully we do have a game 6 on Thursday, but I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah, I hope we're wrong. I hope we got more hoops to talk about. I certainly will be rooting for the Dallas Mavericks, so we'll see how it shakes out. But yeah, it could be the end tonight for sure.
Excellent stuff. All right. Once again, you missed anything, make sure you check out Picks and Roll and all of our podcasts available at foxphlgambler.com.